Hey guys, welcome back to the Fisherman's Andrew live show. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. But before we get started with tonight's show, I just want to say I'm really excited for my guest tonight. He is one of the hosts of the CFN Fish Off. He is a member of the Canadian Fishing Network and someone who has a passion for fishing. So without any further introductions, I'd like to welcome Michael Consul onto the show.
Hey, how you doing, Andrew? All right, Andrew.
So, how's it going?
Good. Sean's saying there's no sound. I think I might have fixed it, though. Eric's saying I can't hear him either, but it might be good now. So, Sean and Eric, let us know if you could hear Andrew and I. I think we might have solved the problem. So, good evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. All right, Eric says he could hear both of us. Okay, so it looks like Andrew is going to run to plug something in or get some batteries, but I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the CFN Fish Off, but it's a online tournament. Actually, Canada's largest multi-species online tournament. So if you have not registered, all you got to do is go to cfnfishoff.com. And how it works is it's two people, one team, and we have over 300 anglers from Nova Scotia to BC registered in this year's 2020 CFN Fish Off. So the goal is to try to catch as many species as possible and the biggest fish in every species, and that's how you accumulate the most points. The team with the most points gets the first place prize pack as well as winning a spot on the CFN Fish Off TV show, which is on the Sportsman channel and the World Fishing Network. So if you've ever wanted to be on your own fishing show, this is the way on. All you got to do is win the online tournament, and you will be one of the teams representing your province on the Sportsman channel on WFN. You back, Andrew?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I see a question. Awesome. I see a question from Eric. Is there age requirement? There's actually no age requirement. Anyone can join the CFN Fish Off. Oh, we do have a kids rule. For example, if I'm fishing with my partner and I bring my daughter out with me, any kid that I bring out fishing, 17 years or under, their catches count towards my team's score. For example, I catch a 17-inch largemouth bass. Then my daughter next to me, who I took fishing out with me, she catches a 20-inch largemouth bass. And her fish, because she is fishing with me and I took the time to take kids fishing with me, her fish count to my team score. So that could be my daughter, my niece, my nephew, my daughter's friends. The more kids I take out fishing with me, the more lines my team can have in the water, and all those points will count towards my team score. And the reason why we have that is we want to encourage teams to bring youth out fishing, to bring kids out fishing, and make it a whole family event. So I hope that answers your question. But we do have teams, like we have some kids in high school. They have their own team. We have father-son teams or mother-daughter teams or father-daughter teams. So there is no age limit in terms of who can participate in the CFN Fish Off. And it would be amazing if one of the winning teams representing their province that will be featured on the TV show. Oh, I would love it if it was a kid that was part of that team that gets to be featured on TV.
Oh, nice. Well, Eric Thornton just comment. My son is 16 and a fisherman. He has competed in adult tournaments since he was 10. Can he be my partner?
Definitely. There are a lot of father-son teams. So Eric, you and your son would be an amazing team. And it's free to register. All you got to do is go to cfnfishoff.com. And what we have is weekly Shimano combo prize packs. So for example, week 1, depending on, we haven't decided the start date because of the global pandemic, but we should be starting either at the end of May or the beginning of June. But week 1 would be, if we're keeping the same format, it would be trout week. So that means any trout you catch that week, at the end of the week, we're going to do a Shimano draw. So if you caught a brown trout, that would give your team 1 ballot into the draw. But if you caught a brown, a rainbow, and let's say a speck, your team would get 3 ballots into the draw. And if we pick your team name out, you and your partner get a brand new Shimano combo. So it's amazing. Like, you can get brand new Shimano gear for catching like an 8-inch perch.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm pretty good at catching perch.
John, thanks. I want to give a shout out to Rise Apparel. They put this little towel with my hat order. So if any of you are looking for either CFN gear or you want your custom owned gear, kind of like this, Andrew, you should get a hat that says Fishing with Andrew.
Yes,
so this is my YouTube channel, Caught by Consul, and I got this logo designed, and Rise Apparel, they were able to put it on the hat, and now I got, you know, my own gear and apparel that helps promote my YouTube channel.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've been looking at getting a hat made and a couple other things made.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely have some awesome stuff. Let me show you the CFN stuff.
Yep.
So, like when I'm filming for TV, I'll probably be wearing this hat, and this is another Rise Apparel hat with the CFN leather patch. But today I'm going to wear this hat because I just got it this week. Thank you.
It looks really good. I like it.
So yeah, if you have any questions about the CFN Fish Off, just write them in the comments. But I believe you have questions for me, Andrew.
Yes, I do. So question number 1 is, how did you get involved with the Canadian Fishing Network?
Oh, that's a good question. So a few years ago, I started my YouTube channel, and this is the channel name, Caught by Consul. So I was just posting videos for like my friends because I would send them pictures. Hold on one sec, I got to sneeze.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Bless you.
Sorry about that. So I was posting videos just for my friends to start watching, or for my family to start watching, because I would take my daughter out or my nephews and nieces, and they were like, hey, do you have that video? And I go, yeah, instead of me sending it to you, let me post it on YouTube, and then you could share it with people. And then all of a sudden, like, different followers that I didn't even know started following, and I'd be walking on the bank, and people say, hey, do you have a YouTube channel? I remember one time I was out in a canoe, and this guy canoed beside me, and he goes, hey, are you that guy on YouTube? And so I started to build up my YouTube channel. And most of it was just fishing on shore from Toronto. That's where I'm from. And then I was at the Bowmanville tackle swap. And this other Filipino guy named Red Andel, he came up to me, and he goes, hey, I've seen your YouTube channel. Love your stuff. How would you like to get involved with the Canadian Fishing Network? And then we just started talking. And then what ended up happening is I was winning some online tournaments and participating in a whole bunch of different online tournaments. But with every tournament, I was like, oh, I wish they did this. Or, oh, man, I wish they changed this rule. Or it would be amazing if I could bring kids out with me, and, you know, those points would be counted towards my team. So I had all these different ideas from different tournaments that I was participating in and I was winning. And then I came up with the idea of the CFN Fish Off. And since I met Red Ando and Scotty Martin, I said, hey, what do you guys think about this idea? And we hashed it out, worked out the details, and we had our first CFN Fish Off, which was 3 years ago. And it was 3 teams. It was my team, and Red was my partner. We were called the Dads. We had the Beelers, and we called them the couple, so Mark and Erica Beeler. And then we had Brandon Fernandez and Brandon Francie and Kevin Fernandez, and they were the urban anglers. So we filmed 6 weeks trying to catch as many species as possible. We cut it into 6 episodes that we put on YouTube. And then last year, we had the network come to us and said, hey, you know that CFN Fish Off that you have that's posted on YouTube? We'd love to put that on TV. And this was the Sportsman Channel. We'd love to broadcast it on the Sportsman Channel and air it across Canada. And our sister company, the World Fishing Network, they would probably love it too. Do you mind if we pitch it to them? We were like, hey, that would be awesome. And then the World Fishing Network got back to us and said, you know what? even though it's Canadian content, we would love to have it on the World Fishing Network for a couple reasons. One, a lot of their TV shows is like professional anglers or people who fish for a living, whereas the CFN Fish Off was just like everyday anglers or weekend warriors trying to catch as many species as possible. So they said, we love your show concept because it's very relatable to many of our viewers. So they like that about it. And then the second thing they liked about it is anyone can get involved. Like I said, anyone who joins the CFN Fish Off, you too can be featured on the Sportsman Channel NWFN by participating in the online tournament. And if you win the online tournament, then that earns your spot on the TV show. So that's how I got involved with the Canadian Fishing Network.
Oh, nice. Now, my other question is, how did you get involved with fishing?
Oh, from a very, very, very young age, I got involved with fishing. My parents and my uncles and aunts, we were lucky enough to share a cottage with different families, and so I remember, every Friday evening in the summertime, my uncle would pick us up, or my dad would load up the car, and we'd drive down to the cottage, and it was in Buckhorn, and I just remember spending Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays on the dock, either trying to catch some grasshoppers or anything I could use as bait, and then just spending all day on the dock. And from there I just loved fishing. And for some reason, every time we'd go out on the boat or find a new shore spot, I was always the luckiest kid. I always catch the most fish and the biggest fish. And I don't know what it is, but I do have the fishing gods on my side even to this day. So I'm not the best fisherman, but I'm a really lucky fisherman.
Mm-hmm. And you said Buckhorn. I've been up to Buckhorn. It's really nice up there.
Oh, love it. And I see Jamie's. Looks like he's a big fan of fishing in Buckhorn as well.
Him and his, yes, him and his brother. We've all gone up to Buckhorn. I think we spent a weekend up there as well. But
yeah, Jamie, awesome place. So if you've never fished in Buckhorn, it's definitely a spot you should check out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he just commented Lower Buckhorn is a great spot.
Yes, for bass and for muskie. It's definitely a great spot.
Yes. Well, they probably know a lot about the muskies because they've been trying to target them all the time when we're out there.
Yep, for sure. What other questions did you have for me, Andrew?
We're going to go into a couple of your fishing stories.
All right, for sure. I see one of our CFN Fish Off sponsors, Tyler Russell, huge supporter of the Fish Off. And so I just want to thank Tyler Russell from Sid Fish's Jigs. And so for those that enter the CFN Fish Off, the first place team, the second place team, and the third place team wins a prize pack. And those prize pack is contributions from a whole bunch of different outfits. And Sid Fish's Jigs is definitely one of our amazing sponsors. So if you're one of the first, second, or third place teams, you'll get a prize pack courtesy of Sid Fish's Jigs. So thank you, Tyler, for participating in that and being part of the CFN Fish Off. Plus, not only do the first, second, and third place team win a prize pack, but the top team in each province also wins a prize pack. So you could be 10th overall, but first in Saskatchewan. So there's a specific Saskatchewan prize pack. Or you could be, 25th overall, but you're the first team, the highest ranking team in Nova Scotia. So there's like a Nova Scotia prize pack. So we have the provincial prize packs. We have first, second, and third place team. Plus we have our weekly Shimano draws. So you could be, the 100th team on the list, but because we picked your name for the Shimano draw, your team would win a Shimano combo. And then plus on top of that, like I said, the winners get to move on to film for the CFN Fish Off TV show. And you might not win the tournament, but because we have to fill some other team slots and your team is like the most entertaining, or you fill a demographic that the other teams don't fill, there's other wild card spots that you might be selected by the judging panel, even if you didn't win, but we would ask you to represent your province to be on the TV show.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
I just ordered my first order from Tyler as well, so.
Awesome. Definitely support Canadian tackle makers.
Yes. And Eric comment on how do you enter the CFN Fish Off? I think he already explained it. Is you go to the CFN website and you register there.
Yeah, so just the website is cfnfishoff.com, and right there you'll see a registration link, and then you just put in your team info. There's a couple questions you need to answer, and then we'll send you out information with regards to the rules and the start date and all the information you need to know to compete in the tournament. But like I said, it's your ticket to be on your own full-fledged fishing show on WFN. So that's pretty amazing. For those of you that don't have WFN or seen it, Primetime Fridays has the longest standing fishing shows in Canada. So on Primetime Fridays, there's Bob Izumi, and then it's the CFN Fish Off right after the Bob Izumi fishing show. And then right after that is Fishing Canada. And then right after that is Italo show. So between those four shows, like you're going to be smack dab in the middle of Italo show, Bob Izumi show, and Angelo Viola show. So it's an amazing opportunity, and anyone can win. And you don't even have to win, because you might be selected just because you're an amazing personality or an awesome angler or entertaining on camera. So you don't even have to win to be selected to be on the show.
Oh, nice. We're going to take one more question, and we'll let you tell your story. It's from Jamie. Question for Michael. Have you spent a lot more time on the Tried Lakes? I've also fished Curve Lake in the past. How about you? Any interests out there?
I don't think I've actually been on the Tri Lakes. Is that also in Buckhorn, Jamie? Are the Tri Lakes in Buckhorn? And like, what are the names of the Tri Lakes? I might have been there if I don't know which Tri Lakes you're referring to. But on Pigeon Lake, which is in that area, is where I hooked my very first muskie, and I wasn't even muskie fishing. There was a rock shoal, and I was throwing a Senko, and I snapped off, and I was lazy, so I put a octopus hook straight on braid, and then put my Senko on. I was like, I'm bass fishing anyways. I don't need a leader. Fish are biting hard. So just throwing the Senko, different pockets along the rock shore, and then all of a sudden, like one of the biggest hits I've ever felt, and then my line just started peeling. I was using my Baitcaster, and then it just started peeling. And my buddy is like, dude, that's not a bass. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm holding it. And there's no point, like I didn't even reel once. I'm just holding it, and then tightening my drag. And then all of a sudden I give it a little bit of more tension by putting my thumb on it. And then I see this muskie jump. Me and my buddy see it jump straight out of the water. No part of his body was still underwater. The entire muskie jumps up. I'm holding it. I'm like praying that I'm going to keep it. It lands. And then I guess the way it landed, or the amount of tension on the line, it just snapped. Plus, I didn't have a leader. I didn't even have a fluorocarbon leader. So braid, like stretch braid and sharp objects like a musky teeth, is not a good pairing. And then it snapped. Then my heart dropped. And that was my first muskie. And who knows how big it was, because it ran so far when it jumped. But even though it was way in the distance, it still looked massive. So me and my buddy are estimating a muskie in the 40s, but who knows? Next year, that muskie will probably be 45 when I tell that story. And then the year after that, that muskie will probably be in the 50s. But who knows? So so Buckhorn, Pigeon, and Chemung. Yes, I have fished all of those. So that story that I told you is from is from pigeon, and my largest muskie is also from pigeon. And maybe I'll post a picture, and it was 48 inches, and that was last summer. So that was a fun time.
Ooh.
Probably in the fall, like late in summer, early fall. Upper Buckhorn, amazing as well. So I've definitely fished all those tri-lakes in the Buckhorn area. And whether it's largemouth, smallmouth, walleye, or muskie, if you've never fished buckhorn, pigeon, or shimong, they're all amazing places to go.
Yes. I like buckhorn, lower buckhorn. Haven't tried pigeon yet, and Chamois Lake I haven't even tried yet.
Yeah. And I didn't even know the names of those lakes, but remember I had a cottage in Buckhorn when I was growing up and had no idea what those names of those lakes are until I really got into fishing. But me and my family would fish all those lakes all the time. I didn't even know there was muskie in there. Like growing up, I never caught a muskie. It was only after I started to target muskie that I was like, man, I used to fish here all the time when I was a kid. I never caught a muskie before. But muskie is awesome. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. My first muskie was trolling Rice Lake and thought it was a snag. And I just set the hook, and next thing had to fight on the hands.
Were you able to land that first one?
Yes.
Amazing. How big was that?
I'm not too sure, but I do have the video up on YouTube and do have all the pictures up on my website and up on my Facebook page. Pretty big one.
Yeah. So the lesson I take away from that story is like never be lazy. Like I should have, when I snapped off, I should have retied a leader to my braid, just in case, who knows, a toothy critter like a muskie or a walleye, something with sharp teeth. Because braid, when stretched, like braid is super strong, but when it's stretched, you can take any sharp object, whether it's a tooth or a rock or any, zebra mussel, like braid snaps really, really easy when stretched. However, if you have fluoro or mono as a leader, and usually use fluoro because it's invisible, it's way more abrasion resistant. So you gotta remember not to be lazy and put a leader on when I'm using braid for sure, because I've lost many lures by being lazy to pike or muskie because I didn't put a leader on.
Yeah, I've always been careful when changing lures and always checking my line and making sure it's okay to use.
Looks like Jamie has another question. The largest walleye caught in the Kawarthas. All my walleye in the Kawarthas, Jamie, honestly, have all been accidental walleye. I've never really targeted walleye in the Kawarthas. I'm always bass fishing or muskie fishing. And so my biggest walleye probably in like the 24-inch range. So I haven't really measured or targeted walleye in the Kawarthas, but they're definitely out there. They're definitely out there because I catch them by accident.
Great question, Jamie. Thank you.
What else we got, Andrew?
I did have another fishing story for you. Funny one. Do you have any funny fishing stories?
Yeah. One of the best places and funnest places that I ever fished was Key West in Florida. So hired a guide for the day. It was about $350. It was actually only for half the day. So we cut up the day in thirds. The first third was fishing the flats, and we're fishing for barracuda. And if anyone out there has ever caught or like hooked a barracuda, oh my gosh, it is insane. The hit on the barracuda like shakes your bones. Like if you were sitting beside me, Andrew, and I asked you to close your eyes, and then I just shoved you like this as fast as I could. One quick shove, like that's what it feels like to hook a big barracuda. It just shakes your bones. Barracuda fishing was awesome. And then the second third of the day, we went for permit. And unfortunately, we didn't catch any permit. But my funny story is the last portion of the day. And we were going for tarpon. And so for tarpon, we went out and he had some traps out there. And in the traps, he had these small fish. I don't know what they're called, but they look like little sunfish. And so he would take the sunfish. We would live rig the sunfish right behind the dorsal fin. And then he said, cast it out 11 o'clock as far as you can. And you could see the tarpon. It's way far out there. And the tarpon, for some reason, I don't know why, they come up to the surface and they roll. And I'd have to look up why they do that. But he goes, cast out 11 o'clock as far as you can, and then just let your line out, and I'll tell you when to stop. And we want your little fish to just be swimming with the tarpon. And what you'll notice is every so often you'll feel your fish tug. And it's, don't set the hook, because that's just your fish fighting the current or trying to get away from your hook. You'll know when it's a tarpon because it doesn't feel like a little tap. It's like a massive, massive hit. And the guide said, and before the hit, what normally happens is you'll feel your little fish, you'll feel it going crazy. When you feel your fish going crazy, that means a tarpon is like right beside it or ready to gulp that thing, and because it's hunting. So all of a sudden I'm holding my line, just talking to the guide, telling stories or whatever like we're doing now. And then my rod tip goes crazy. And I'm like, oh my God. And then he goes, before that happened, he said, we call tarpon the king of fish. And so when you see the king, you need to bow. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, because that king, when you see the king, that king's going to jump. That tarpon's going to jump. When you see that tarpon jump, you need to bow and put your rod tip down because you're going to have too much tension on your line. You're going to snap your line. He goes, so when you see the king, make sure to bow. So then my line's going crazy. I feel a massive hit, and it's just pulling, drag. And then the tarpon jumps. And then the guide is like, bow, 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 bow. And I'm like this. So I bow my head, but I leave my rod tip up. He's like, bow, bow, bow. So I'm like, okay. So then I bow. The tarpon lands kind of like the muskie. Tarpon lands, too much pressure on the line, and then my line snaps. And then he goes, you bonehead, don't bow your head, bow your rod tip. And I'm like, oh man. And that was the only time I hooked a tarpon, because it was like at the end of our trip. And he said easy 40 pounds, that tarpon, like 35, 40 pounds.
Ooh,
yeah.
Nice.
And then, so we only had about 15 minutes left. So we were trying for some tarpon, 15 minutes left, and wasn't able to hook one. And then on the drive back, he was like, I'm kind of glad you missed that tarpon, because you'd still be fighting that tarpon right now if you had it on the line. So one day I'm going to have to go back to Key West and see if I can hook myself and land another tarpon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing I need to try is tarpon fishing.
Yeah.
That's one thing I need to go out and try.
Looks like we have some questions there.
Yeah.
First one is from Sean. So Sean asked, how's my finger? So here's my hands. Yeah. Here's my fingers. And Sean has probably seen the CFN Fish Off either on YouTube or on TV. And in it, I don't want to spoil it, but there was a trip to the hospital because of an accident that involved these two fingers. So if you haven't seen episode 1, just go to the Canadian Fishing Network YouTube channel, and you'll see why I had to go to the hospital involving these two fingers. But my fingers are good now, Sean. Very healed. Thanks for asking.
Oh, that's good.
Tyler
asked if either of us have been out fishing recently.
Have you, Andrew? I'll go first. Okay.
Yes.
I'm lucky enough that I have like a very short walk, or like a less than 5-minute drive to a couple local creeks. So I've been targeting steelhead and suckers. So I've caught a lot of suckers, and I've caught a couple of rainbow trout, big and small. and I caught my first Atlantic. So that was pretty cool. Like I caught, and it was only this, it was about this big, about 10 inches. And I knew it looked different. I was like, is this a brown? No, it doesn't look like a brown, but it has big spots like a brown. So I sent it to a couple of friends who are amazing at fish ID, and they go, dude, that's an Atlantic. And I talked to a guy on the bank, and he was on the other side, and I go, hey, how's it going? And then he was telling me that they released 50,000 Atlantic in that creek. So it's not surprising that I caught one of them. So that was pretty cool. My first Atlantic.
Nice. So I went out on Sunday to try a nice little creek, and unfortunately there's nothing there. The only thing I came across was a little turtle swimming around. That was about it. So So decided, okay, let's go try the other side and see how that is. Well, walking down there, the girlfriend sprained her ankle on the rocks down there. So she's out for fishing for a little bit now, but unfortunately didn't get skunked, but at least I did go out and did get a cast my rod for a little bit.
Well, that's the best thing about fishing is even if you don't catch fish, it's definitely an enjoyable time out in nature for sure. Get some fresh air.
Yes.
I just remembered. I also caught my PB creek chub, and if those of you who have watched the CFN Fish Off, getting an 8-inch creek chub, oh man, it is so hard. Like
it is.
Caught hundreds of creek chub, but none of them are 8 inches. But last week I caught a 9 1/4 inch creek chub. This thing was massive. And
wow.
Yeah, we measured it. It was 9 1/4 inches, so it was huge. And I also caught a common shiner. So getting some species, not, some of these fish are minnow species. They're not the biggest, but still fun nonetheless.
Yeah. Then Chris asks, what boat setup are you running, trolling motor and fish finder?
Yeah. So I have, for the CFN Fish Off, there's no motorized boats allowed in the TV show. For the online tournament, any type of fishing is allowed. There's shore fishing, motorized boat fishing, kayak fishing, canoe fishing. So for the online tournament, any type of fishing is allowed. And that's because there's no way we can police 300 anglers from Nova Scotia to BC. But if you make it onto the TV show, one of the things that we want to make different from our show than other shows is we want to promote alternative crafts. So for the TV show, there's no gas-powered boats. You can have a trolling motor, that's fine. You can use a canoe, you can use a kayak, you can fish from shore, but no gas-powered boats. So because I've been fishing for the tournament, I've been, trying to figure out what is the best type of craft. So I have a Jackson kayak, and kayak fishing for anyone who hasn't started it, oh man, it has brought an amazing new joy to my fishing. If I were to rank ice fishing, shore fishing, motorized regular boat fishing, canoe fishing, kayak fishing, inflatable fishing, shore fishing, if I were to rank all of those in terms of which is my favorite, kayak fishing is my favorite type of fishing now that I have a kayak. So I have a Jackson kayak. It's a KUDA LT and no trolling motor, but I do have my Humminbird Helix 5 that I use on my kayak. I mount it right to the center console. But I rigged that Humminbird so that I could take that same Humminbird and I can bring it to my boat or I can bring it to my canoe. So I rigged it so that it's portable and it has its own battery and it has its a transducer. The other thing I have is I have a Sports Pal canoe. And if for those of you looking for a canoe, the Sports Pal canoe is amazing. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. One, it's super light. It's only about 35 pounds. So loading it onto the roof of my SUV or carrying it to the bank, it's only 35 pounds, super light. And it's strong, made out of aluminum. And the inside of the Sports Pal is actually lined with foam. So anyone who's ever been on an aluminum canoe, a lot of times it's really noisy. So you could scare fish because of how noises it would drop a lure or put your, even just walking on it or putting your rod butt down. It makes a lot of noise. So the sports bow is super light and it's lined with foam. So it's a lot quieter. And the sides of the sports bow have these bumpers on it, and it helps keep it stable and it helps prevent from tipping. So the sports bow is awesome. On the sports bow, I'll put like a 45-pound or 55-pound trolling motor. My sports bow has a flat back, so I can stick my trolling motor on it. I also have a 2.5 horse, not a Mercury. What is it? It's a Coleman, 2.5 horse Coleman motor. So I could put that on the back of my sports bow as well. And I also have an inflatable, and it's a kaboat, K-A-B-O-A-T, a kaboat. So it's like half kayak, half boat. So that's why they call it a kaboat. And this thing is amazing. It's amazing. There's a couple of brands. The name brand is Saturn. So if you look at Saturn kaboat, but there's also some other versions of the kaboat. And from what I can tell, they're just as good as the Saturn. It pumps up really fast. It could fit in the back of a Mini Cooper, and it's super stable, and you could stand in it. So if you're looking, like if you don't have a hitch at the back of your car, if you don't have a trailer, or if you don't have anywhere to store a boat, the kaboat is amazing because it, like I said, it fits in the back of your car, and it's not that expensive. It's about $1,200. So for those of you looking for an alternative craft and you want to get away from the shore and go a little bit further, the kaboat, I have a 14-foot. There's a 12-foot. I think there's a 10-foot, a 12-foot, and a 14-foot. I have a 14-foot kaboat, and I could easily fit three grown people on the kaboat. And I could put my 2.5 horsepower motor on the kaboat, or I can put my trolling motor, or it has oars as well. So the kaboat is amazing. So those are the three main fishing crafts that I use, and I bring my fish finder. It's portable. I've rigged it so it's portable. I put it in a case, and let me actually show you the case right now. It's right over here. So my fish finder is in this case. So whether it's ice fishing, I could bring this case out. I could put this case in the kaboat. I can put it in the canoe, or I could take my fish finder out of this case and mount it to my kayak. So very convenient and very flexible. Don't know if I can hear Andrew. So Andrew, if you can hear me, we can't hear you, but I will kill some more time. Looks like he's out of battery. Jamie has a question. Any muskie catch on a kayak? Not yet, Jamie. I just got my kayak last spring, so I haven't caught any muskie on the kayak. I can't wait though. That's gonna be amazing. Like I'm wondering how big the muskie has to be in order for it to like pull your kayak. Because I've caught a lot of bass and pike on the kayak, but none big enough to actually drag me. So I'll be looking forward to catching muskie on the kayak one day for sure. So the Helix that I have, Jamie has a question, and he says, he also runs a Helix 5. I only have, so in here I have the Helix 5, but it's the Generation 1, so I definitely want to upgrade to another fish finder since I only have the first generation. But it does its job, and then that way I could probably keep one Helix on the kayak, and then I could have another portable fish finder that I can carry on the other boats that I use. So Andrew is still having technical difficulty. If any of you have questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Oh, we hear you now, Andrew.
Okay, I got new batteries in.
All right.
I'm lucky I found a brand new pack.
Awesome.
Okay.
Any other questions for me, Andrew?
Yes. Where is it? Right here. Now, what type of fishing angler are you? Are you a multi-species or just one type of fish?
Before the CFN Fish Off, I was like a bass guy, pike guy. There's a lot of, I live in Toronto, so there's a lot of pike that you can access from shore, and I've always liked fishing bass. But now, because I'm involved in the CFN Fish Off, and the way you can get the most points is not just catching the biggest fish, but as many species as possible. Now I would definitely call myself a multi-species guy. So like,
Okay.
I by the creek, I actually caught a brand new species that I never caught before, and it was a long-nosed sucker. So I was catching all these white suckers, and they all look the same. But then I caught this other sucker, and one, the scales are a little smaller, and two, the head was a lot longer. And then so I sent it to my friends who are amazing at IDing, like I said, and I go, hey, I don't think this is a white sucker. Can you tell me what it is? And my partner for the CFN Fish Off this year is Kenneth C., and he's caught over 900 species. And he's like,
wow.
Damn, dude, that's a long-nosed sucker. And even though Ken has caught over 900 species, he has never caught a long-nosed sucker. So I go, well, you better come here right now because I don't know how long they're staying here. So I helped Ken get onto a long-nosed sucker, and his species numbered 923. So now 923 is Ken's long-nosed sucker. So I'm not there yet. I don't know how many. I don't know how many species I've caught. I know for season 1, we caught 22 species. For season 2, we were in the 30s, and then this summer we definitely want to break that and get into the 40s. But we got to do that all within 6 weeks.
Yeah. I'm still waiting to find a partner, so.
Yeah, I saw your registration, and we have a bunch of Ontario anglers that are solo. So we'll definitely hook you up with a partner. So for those that want to register, if you don't have a partner, you can definitely register solo, and then we'll find anyone else in your province that has also registered by themselves, and we will hook you two up together so that you can be partners.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, Eric, this comment. What is your rod setup you run?
So I'm not sure if he's talking about the rigs or the actual rods that I run, but we're fortunate enough that the CFN Fish Off is sponsored by Shimano. And so I have a bunch of Shimano setups. My favorite setup is my Stratic, so Shimano Stratic CI4, the new one. So there's 2 versions of the CI4 Plus.
Oh, nice.
So I have the new Stratic CI4 Plus on a SLX 7-foot rod, and man, the Stratic I believe is the lightest reel you can get, and the SLX rod is super light as well. So those 2 paired together, amazing. And then the other setup that I have, a multi-species setup I have also, is I have the old Stratic, and that's paired with a Compre rod also by Shimano, and that setup is amazing. And then my Baitcaster, I have a Shimano Metanium paired up with a Shimano X Pride rod, and that thing casts a ton, and
oh wow,
super sensitive. So those are like my 3 main setups. I have some other setups too, but those are my 3 favorite setups right there.
Okay. And Chris comment. Have you ever fished the Manitoba River, Harris Lake access? Lots of crown land to camp on and great for kayaking.
You know what? I haven't fished the Harris, but I have fished the Magnetawan River. My buddy Francis has a trailer in Magnetawan. We didn't go kayak fishing because he has a boat, and we were targeting walleye and bass. But it feels like the further north you go, the better the fishing gets. And Magnetawan is way up there, so it is definitely a place that I want to visit more. Speaking about going up north, I'm a teacher and I run various leadership programs. So I run the Catholic leadership program at the Toronto Catholic District School Board, and I take kids up north. So we do this Indigenous program with kids so that they can immerse themselves in Indigenous culture. They can learn about traditions within Indigenous and Native culture, as well as learn as the issues they faced in the past and the issues they're currently facing, and how we from Toronto can help with those issues. But when we went up there, we had a fish fry, and the Indigenous community there, they caught walleye, like a whole bunch of walleye for us, and then we had a fish fry. And then I asked them, "Oh, hey, where can we catch?" Like I brought my rod with me, so we flew to Thunder Bay, and from Thunder Bay, we still had a 3-hour ride, a bus ride further north. So for those of you that know where Thunder Bay is, that's like at the top of the Great Lakes. And then from there, we went 3 hours north to Geraldton. And so I was asking, hey, where can I do some fishing around here? Because I brought my rod. And they said, oh, all the good fishing is up north. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I flew north to Thunder Bay and drove 3 hours further north to Geraldton. And you're telling me the better fishing is up north? That was like the most north I've ever been in Ontario or in Canada. And they said I have to go even further north for good fishing. So it feels like no matter, like here in Toronto, like people say, hey, where should you go fishing? Oh, you got to go up north. Like go to like Muskokas. And then if I talk to people in Muskoka, I go, hey, where's some good fishing? They say, hey, you got to go up north. So it feels like no matter how far north you are, it's always better fishing up north.
Oh, wow. Then we had Christina comment. I think I said her name right. Christina.
Yes.
Hi,
Christina,
Michael,
one of our awesome CFN supporters. So the plan, Christina, is after the CFN Fish Off, we will be also having the Summer Slam. So the Summer Slam is a little bit different. We usually only have 3-4 species. So the CFN Fish Off is trying to catch as many species as possible, because the more species you catch, the more points you get. But for the Summer Slam, last year we had largemouth, smallmouth, pike, and walleye. We only had 4 species. And what we do is between the start date of the Summer Slam, and I believe it was in sometime in July, until Labor Day. And the goal is to try to catch the biggest fish in one or all 4 of those species. And the winner gets a prize pack. So the Summer Slam, the idea is still going to happen. That online tournament is going to happen. But first is the CFN Fish Off, which will be starting at the end of May, beginning of June. And then it'll be the filming for the CFN Fish Off TV show for those that move on. And then it'll also be the Summer Slam.
Oh, nice. So that's all I had planned for today's show.
Amazing.
We've gone into an hour already.
Yeah, I know. My stomach's rumbling because I have to have dinner. So
yeah. Thank you, Michael, for coming on. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. If anyone wants to reach out, there's different ways that you could do that. You can find me on Facebook, Michael Consul. YouTube is Caught by Consul, and Instagram is Michael_Consul. And the Facebook page that I manage is called the CFN Fish Off. And you can also go to cfnfishoff.com, and all those platforms you can reach out to me if you have any questions with regards to the tournament, or you just have questions about fishing. I'm always there and happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Keep up the good work, Andrew, and hopefully maybe come this summer we can go fishing together.
Yes, hopefully. And thank you again. Have a good
awesome.
night, Michael.
Have a good night, everybody.
So, hey guys, that's our show for tonight. Time did go a little bit fast for me and having a little bit of typical difficulties, but thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys tune in next week as I have a new special guest coming on the show. So I'll see you guys all next week with a new guest and a new show for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys all later.